Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we're taking a look at my latest attempt at a practice speedrun for Shadowland. Now, spoiler alert, the video itself was actually about 40 minutes long. I recorded it end to end, so I'm about halfway there. I need to improve my speed by about 200% to get down to 20 minutes before I'll be at a respectable competitive level for the actual opening of Shadowland. So this is by no means a finished product, and I have underestimated how difficult I thought this would be, and I do think I need more tier 2s and more practice and more setup in order to get it right. But I thought it would be interesting to go back and look now that I'm watching myself, and I can comment and point out areas where I made mistakes, areas where I learned from things, and where you guys can learn from them as well now that I'm seeing this after having played it back. So the first two stages go by pretty well. I struggled a little bit to find the right blast characters there in the menu. Throughout this run, I did feel a substantial amount of nervousness knowing that I was on the clock, which is strange for me and foreign for me because I never feel nervous playing this game, and I rarely feel nervous with video games in general. Here, I totally goofed up, and I was hoping for a speed relay, but I didn't get one. So in my kind of flustered panic, I queued in a combat team into the combat relay. So here is where I lose a substantial amount of time. This gaff, as you can see, I'm doing 1 damage. This gaff, this goof probably cost me about a minute, if not 2. So I decided to go with the universal relay. As you can see, I'm struggling mightily to figure out what the fuck to do. And I decided to go with Black Bolt. Bad choice at tier 1. He can't do this by himself. It's very, very difficult. I even have an invincibility obelisk, and I do my best. I almost get it, as you guys will see. If I had not gotten stunned by Ronin in a second here, I might have been able to pull it off because of all the guard breaks and all the stuns that Black Bolt has, but Ronin comes in and kills me in one shot because I had no health left. So what I did was I took my team from the 4th stage, which was Medusa, Clea, and I believe someone else, I can't remember who. Captain America for the team up. And I just cleared the 3rd stage thinking it was the 4th stage. Generally speaking, this isn't a very good idea because if I had gotten the same stage again and I didn't have another character, I would have then struggled more. But I cleared this one pretty fast. I did give Clea a much better obelisk, so I think that's part of the reason why I was able to clear this better. She has an invincibility proc now on her obelisk, so she's much less fragile, and so I comfortably cleared this on the first try in under 40 seconds, which is good. But here, again, the fastest stage is that stage 4 relay, and so I'm forced to use yet again more universal characters, which all ties into the theme that I've been talking and discussing with you guys lately about investing in more universal tier 2s because they're the most valuable for Shadowland. Now here I resorted to using Loki. I know a lot of you guys would probably, sneer at this or think that I'm overkilling this stage, but actually Loki is not a very fast clear for Shadowlands, even at stage 4. Like this, he clears more slowly than Clea. Think about that. So I was a little bit disappointed with my panic at this point, but I had to keep going because I was trying to simulate a speed run. Again, this is our 3rd universal relay in a row, but we did have a team queued up for this one intentionally with Thor. I think this was a little bit slower than my last run with Thor because I kept getting interrupted. I got, I think, stunned by Ghost Rider once in a couple seconds, or I might have just gotten stunned multiple times by Ronin. But in general, I did get lucky with these 3-person universal relays. I think they're the fastest in the game, aside from those very late stages that you could just blow through with Odin, Dormammu, and Doctor Strange in the 20s, when it's just single one-on-one. And here I would have cleared a lot faster if Gwenpool had been at tier 2. One kind of mission, one kind of level that I wish I had seen more of, which I didn't see any of this time around, was the Destroyer boss stages. And you'll start to see when we get up into the double digits, 10, 11, 12, you expect to see at least one Destroyer boss stage because they're so easy to clear. But I only got one throughout my entire 25 stages, so that was a little bit disappointing. This one, however, took too long. I think Gwenpool needs to be tier 2 here, but it was fairly straightforward. It wasn't difficult at all. It was just about the timing. I think given the fact that I made mistakes and given the fact that I took 40 minutes end to end with loading screens, so I intentionally didn't edit out the loading screens this time so you guys can see the actual time, the full amount of time that the run takes with all the loading screens, with my internet speed, with the victory screen, all of that stuff. So this is the actual true time, you know, editing notwithstanding. So to just double up the time, because this is going at 2 times the speed, and you'll get a result of about 40 minutes. So I think that I'm aiming for an average of about 30 seconds per stage. And that's not including the stages later on, as I said, with Doctor Strange and the other native tier 2s that can clear it in less than 30 seconds, like 10 or 15. Including those fast stages, I think all of the other stages need to be 30 seconds or less, because the time it takes you to select characters. Here, I totally fucked up, and I did not equip Red Hulk's uniform, so this was a massive fucking waste of time here. I need to be prepared ahead of time for this. The time it takes to go and select different characters if they have different typings, all of that, it adds up. And when people are clearing Shadowlands in 15 minutes, 16 minutes, 20 minutes, if they don't get unlucky, as you'll see a little bit later on, I do get a little bit unlucky, you have to be perfect. And being perfect, I think, requires you to average about 30 seconds per stage. And like, see here, if I had a tier 2 Red Hulk, he wouldn't have had to switch. He would have gotten way more heals from his tier 2 passive. But because he was at tier 1, and because my play really wasn't very good as far as chaining his skills, the rotation, I took too much damage, had to switch to Robbie Reyes, and now this run is suddenly over a minute. So I'm way over for that individual run, and this is all contributing to what ends up being a very slow run. But in general, you want to prioritize the stages with as few enemies as possible. So as you can see, I'm trying to select the either universal relays where there's only 3, or the male hero relays with the Winter Soldier cap uniform one, because again, it only has 3. You want to avoid the ones that have 5. You want to avoid, if you can, the rumbles, and then you want to also avoid the wave modes, because there's time built into them that you can't skip. Here we're going again with Ebony. I think I did a better job this time at chaining Ebony's skills to clear this a little bit faster than before, as far as using the stun correctly and using the 4th skill a little bit more offensively than I had done before. So I was pretty comfortable at this point. I had killed 3 of the Ultrons with you know, only 30 seconds gone on the clock. It doesn't end too well. It does take me a while to kill the last one, but 42 seconds is not bad at all, considering that my Ebony has a long way to go to be maxed out. None of his gears are maxed out or anything like that. Here we went for the team up between Sin and Crossbones to get that extra node, that extra badge, but it's all about Yondu, and I already have Ignore, Dodge, Obelisk on him, so I expected this clear to be quite fast, but actually it wasn't that fast, and I tried... towards the end, I tried to time his 5th skill with the Obelisk proc for the damage, but it just didn't seem like it was doing all that much. Still took me about 40 seconds, which is still too slow, guys. If you want to be the first master of Shadowlands, this is what it takes. I mean, it actually takes a lot more than this. I'm just giving you a glimpse at how difficult it is, despite my roster and despite, you know, years of playing. It's still very difficult to clear these stages consistently in under 30 seconds. I mean, even my Moon Knight is very, very strong. I got stunned there. That probably added a couple seconds. And even he struggles to keep it under 30 seconds. 25 is very close. He probably should have done that faster. Here I was a little bit disappointed. I wanted to go Ancient 1, Mordo, and I believe someone else for a team-up bonus, but I had to go with Bullseye. So here Mordo's damage takes a huge hit because he has to use a 50% dodge ignore leadership. If I had a dodge ignore obelisk on him, it would allow me to use the 45% from Ancient One. Because I don't have that 45%, as you can see, this is going to take upwards of a minute to clear. So this whole run I felt bad that I had kind of goofed myself into this corner. I probably could have gone with the Blast Relay in hindsight, gone with someone like, maybe not Elsa, but maybe taken off Elsa's uniform, or gone with someone like Kamala Khan, because all of her attacks are physical and they only reflect energy damage. But yeah, this ends up taking about a minute and a half. This is probably my worst stage choice to date. And, I mean, it was easy, but as far as speed goes, that was frustrating to watch and frustrating to play. Here we start using the Black Order, and MODOK's just here for the leadership, but this one goes by a lot better. I think the first time I tried this team specifically on this stage, I died with Supergiant, so it is possible still to screw it up if you're not careful. The invincibility obelisk that I have does help her a lot. It just procced right there against the second Hulk, because otherwise they can like 2 or 3 shot you because she's that fragile. But again, 29 seconds, that's the benchmark, guys. Any slower and you're wasting time. Here with Proxima, I expected more, to be honest with you guys. Maybe it's just my Proxima not very well built, but because there are so many summons, because of all these Frost Beasts, her 5th skill really doesn't do that much damage to Loki. As you guys can see, it doesn't take, it takes off about 100,000. So that means it's going to take about 19 rotations, a little bit less than 19, but let's say 15 rotations of the 5th skill. That's just way too long. I mean, Proxima is a beast, but I think Proxima is better off used if you want to use her speed to clear. I mean, 55 seconds is a fucking joke. That's way too long. Proxima is better saved for a relay stage where that damage is not split among so many targets, and also better used on a 1 versus 1 dodge stage. So I might have been better off using Proxima against that Iron Fist stage and saving Baron Mordo. I realize that now. Here, I went with the wave mode because I wanted the card, which is probably not the best thing to do. But I was also curious to see just how long it would take me to do a 2-wave stage, because I know the 3-wave stages are very, very long, and you have to wait. Here, I was frustrated by the fact, and I'm still frustrated by the fact that you have to kill these mobs even after you kill Nebula. I think that's really stupid, and that added a good 10 to 15 seconds to my time. But as you can see, even with Star-Lord's leadership and Tier 2 Enchantress, this is just way, way, way too inefficient. Do not do the wave stages if you have any intention whatsoever of clearing Shadowlands quickly. It's just never going to work out for you, even with a top DPS character. Here we got our first destroyer stage, and initially I was going to try and get the black antimatter by using a female character, but then I realized I really don't have a lot of female characters left, and better yet, because of the typing, there are I believe two combat types. Bringing in a speed character is going to really hurt the overall damage, so it just wasn't going to work out. I was thinking actually about who could I tier 2, which female blast character could I tier 2 that would do well. Crystal came to mind, but even she doesn't seem all that impressive. But let me know if you guys have a female blast character that you think can take down that stage 17 female relay very quickly. It's like none of them come to mind as of yet. Here, I got a little bit unlucky. There was an error. I guess Doctor Strange went too fast. I didn't know that was possible. But this is what I was talking about when I was referring to getting lucky in Shadowlands. If this were a real run, and if I were on pace to become the Master, this would have fucked me over. It didn't count my run. Thankfully, it didn't use up Doctor Strange, or else I would have been in a lot of trouble. I might not have finished Shadowlands at all. But it was a bit disappointing that the bug basically just wasted about a minute of my time, because the run didn't count. It kicked me back to the main screen, so I had to reload the game, and then I had to redo the run again. Here, I'm not sure what I was thinking, so I decided to just go for something safe. However, again, I make the mistake of just trying to solo it. I'm still in that, like, let's make Shadowlands hard and solo it routine. And as you can see, it punishes me greatly because Carnage fucking dies. I don't know why I didn't go in with 3 characters. I have more than enough characters to fill out, you know, the roster of 3, the team up of 3 every time. So I go back in with Spider-Man and Venom to get all those nice team-up bonuses because they're, you know, so thematically tied together in the comics, and we have a much different result. And this is why I do need to get into the habit of setting up teams for Shadowlands. This is actually a very fast run. 23 seconds is probably one of the fastest I've ever cleared that Rumble. even with all their dodging. Here, I really wanted 100 black antimatter. I was not going to be denied, so I said, fuck it. I'm supposed to use Odin on stage 23 against She-Hulk and Jessica Jones because that's a physical reflect stage and it's quite difficult. But I really, really wanted the black antimatter. Here, I was terrified of getting bled by Gamora and dying. Thankfully, I didn't, because that would have been a really sad but humorous highlight reel, and it would have caused a lot of tears. Here, again, we have to clear the mobs after Star-Lord dies. Kind of a dumb thing to design. 41 seconds is slow for Odin. He can clear a stage in like 10 seconds. But as you can see, that's the price you pay when you do the wave modes. So if we ever get to the point where I'm actually seriously contending for the first Shadowlands clear, I will have to suck it up and avoid those juicy 100 black antimatter levels if a wave lands on them and not like a rumble. Ideally, a rumble or a 1v1 is the best. The 3 and 4 man relays are not bad as well, but as you saw with Carnage, you can clear rumble in 10 to 20 seconds if you bring in a heavy hitter. I have no doubt that if it were not an energy reflect stage, if it was like the Hulk rumble for Odin, he could have cleared that stage very quickly because the damage just bunches up, right? So Odin does his 4th skill, Odin does his 5th skill, and he just wipes out Hulkling, Cho, and She-Hulk in a matter of seconds. There, the Shirag one, nothing much to say about that. It was okay. I saved Satana. Last week I had used her, I believe, on stage 4 or 5 or 6 in a team up with Hyperion and Gwenpool. I saved her so I could have some extra damage for Dormammu, but this run is still very slow in terms of the clearing. As you guys can see, Bullseye doesn't feel like dying. I don't want to chase him around, so I'm just trying to target someone else, but he kept just hanging out behind me and not getting hit, so I had to go down and chase him, and unfortunately that was a 40-second Dormammu clear. That's very slow, guys. Dormammu should clear a lot faster. Here I decided to use Iron Fist for the first time, and I found out, much to my fright, that his first skill has physical damage in it. As you can see here, I got reflected, and I took more than half of my health and damage suddenly, so that was terrifying. I thought I was going to lose this stage, so I had to keep switching back and forth. Of course, if you have to switch, that's going to affect your DPS, so this run turns into a bit of a fiasco. I think it takes about a minute when all is said and done, which is just not, you can't have this and be successful if you want to be the master. So 55 seconds is a joke. I need to come up with better teams for these stages, especially because these stages are static. They never change. So I need to have more potential teams set up in case I lose someone along the way and I have to kind of get more creative. Here, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. This is a huge mistake, but I mean, having Daisy as leader doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I realized this pretty soon after. Yeah, it's just fucking, what am I doing? So again, this is a mistake. Tier 2 Yellow Jacket would help out greatly here, but I ended up going with Corvus and a damage buff from Daisy as soon as I find her, because Corvus does pretty decent damage. It's nothing fantastic, but it's okay. I may think of using, or I may plan on in the future using some of the Black Order characters a little bit earlier to get a fast clear, and then relying on some of my tier 2s who are of the appropriate type advantage, so like Blast, Heroes, or supervillains, to clear these stages a little bit faster. Because as fast as Corvus is, I do think that a tier 2 Yellow Jacket with the right team up would have cleared this faster. I mean, this is going on a minute, which is pretty slow. So I think with a damage proc, with a good leadership, tier 2 Yellow Jacket and the type advantage would have done better. Here, I get a little bit unlucky again. I get punished by the loading screen, by the waiting time. That 55-second run probably cost me close to 3 minutes with the Kid Kaiju goof up. And then we have stage 25. Here, again, I'm not really ready for the stage because I used up other characters that I was intending to use at the time, like Carnage. So I decided to go with Kamala Khan, and I got the leadership and the team up with Warwolf and Elsa. This is not very good, and Kamala Khan is not a powerhouse as far as the DPS goes, but it's basically the best I had and the surest shot I had to clear it with any kind of a respectable time. As you'll see through the fight, Daredevil does his usual shenanigans where he iframes as you're attacking and then your character just stands there. It happened to me probably a half dozen times in this fight. Again, I was intending to, or I was thinking about saving Carnage for this stage because he clears it much faster. But because of that black antimatter and because of the Spidey Rumble, I had to use him earlier on. So I get punished here, and this is like almost 2 minutes, which is so freaking painful. So let me know what you guys think of the speed run. Let me know how you guys are faring in Shadowlands, if this is something that's interesting you or not. Do you guys want to see more Shadowlands content? Do you want to see more about the speed run, or do you want to see something else? Let me know what your thoughts are, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.